Hello and welcome to our pocket dimension of the internet. My name is Callie and you've stumbled across 1shots, the drinking TTRPG. And today we're going to walk you through the bare essentials that you need to play 1shots. The first thing you'll need is this beautiful 1shots game mat that our previous Kickstarter kickstarted. So now that I have this, I'm able to really start explaining and showcasing how the game is intended to be played. If you have the game mat, you can scavenge around for everything else that you need to play 1shots, the same way that I did whenever I was making the game. The only thing that isn't easily replicated is the bar mat. Everything else you should be able to find or scavenge around either your house, your local bar, or your local TTRPG store. After the game mat, you're going to need some dice. The game is meant for the 7 typical D&D dice. They'll call them polyhedral dice, but you can also play it if you want to with just 6 normal dice, 7 normal dice. The dice will be placed on these dice dots. After the dice, you'll need some shot glasses. Technically, you really only need 1 per person, or just 1 if you're willing to all share, but it's more fun to have 7 so that you can cover each of the dice. This is to symbolize that all these dice are locked. You can unlock them later in the game by taking a shot. Then you'll need 4 or 5 bottle caps. These will go here next to your stats. On one of the bottle caps, make a symbol for 2, and then on 3 of the bottle caps, make symbols for 1. Place them on whatever stats you want. The higher the number, the more likely you are to succeed on challenges that have to do with that particular stat during gameplay. So if I were to choose 2 brain, 0 brawn, 1 speed, 1 charm, 1 focus, I would basically be saying that this group of folks that are going to be playing the game are particularly good at being brainy and just average at doing brawn type activities. And then a little bit better at speed, charm, and focus than the average person, but not as good as they are at brain. Then you'll need a deck of cards. I just grabbed a random one that I have around, and you just place them somewhere that you think they're not going to get wet unless you have waterproof cards, in which case you're fine. My plan is that any cards that we release will be waterproof cards. And then after that, you're going to need booze. Something to drink. But it doesn't have to be booze. Just like it doesn't have to be D&D dice. You could do this with gross things or spicy things, such as this hot sauce. You determine the amount of the gross thing or the spicy thing that gets taken for each shot and then play it that way. If you all have to drive a couple hours afterwards, or you're just not a group that's into alcohol, or it's dry January and you're not drinking, or any reason. It's a drinking game. The rules are meant to be bastardized, and it's meant for you to choose and make it however you want it to be. I'm excited to see and hear about all the different ways that people make fun house rules. And maybe if I like some of them enough, they might make their way into special editions. Now the board is set up. For a bare bones, essentials only game of 1shots, we're all set up and ready to go. Since it is a tabletop role-playing game, everyone would have their characters and all of that, but that's not the essential parts. For the purposes of a bare bones game of 1shots, all you need is the bar mat, the dice, the shot glasses, the bottle caps, and a deck of cards. And of course, something to take the place of whenever the rules say take a shot. Could be a shot, could be cocktail, could be juice, could be gross stuff, could be Worcestershire sauce, whatever you want. So now that everyone has their own characters, we begin. And anytime a character says that they want to do something, anyone that's doing the role of the house, which is a typical game master role for regular TTRPGs, can challenge that action. The same way that in D&D, the GM might ask for a stealth check. Whenever a challenge is declared, the house will also choose which of the stats to go along with it. Let's say that a character is trying to pick a lock. I might challenge them, and that might be a focus challenge. When a challenge begins, whoever was playing the house and the regular whose character was challenged engage in a contest. Let's take a step back and talk about names for roles in 1shots. In a normal TTRPG, you're going to have the GM or Game Master who plays the rest of the world and the NPCs. And then you're going to have the other players who I call character masters, but the rest of the community kind of just calls players. And the characters that they play, the main characters or the player characters or the PCs. In 1shots, we're going to call the GM the house, and any amount of folks can be the house. But it can also just be one, like a usual TTRPG. The house is still going to play NPCs, but the other players are called regulars, and they are in charge of 1 crew member. And collectively, the party is known as the crew. Whenever a regular narrates something that a crew member is doing, the house can challenge that narrative action. So let's say we're getting into a speed challenge. The character is trying to run to get to a door before an NPC can get to that door, and the character wants to close that door and sneak away. Imagine that over here is the house, and over there is where the character, the regular crew member who's been challenged, is. We will start out with the same setup, but then from there, the rules will diverge for the regular and for the house. So both will get a face down card and a face up card. If you're thinking, oh, this is just blackjack rules, please pay attention. It is very heavily modified from blackjack. It keeps the scoring method kind of. If you are like, hey, I've never played blackjack and I'm kind of intimidated by it, don't worry, it's not blackjack. We both have different rules now. So I'm going to start with the house. The house is going to try to get 21 exactly or higher than the regular without going over 21. If the house reveals over 21, the challenge will resolve as a critical success for the character who was challenged. If the house gets exactly 21, the challenge is going to resolve as a critical failure. For a critical success, the house will narrate 2 ways that crew member succeeds. So usually that's going to involve them getting the thing that they wanted to do and an extra bonus. If it's a critical failure, you're going to do the same thing but for 2 parts failure. Usually that means they don't get the thing that they wanted and something else extra bad happens. If it's neither a critical success or a critical failure when the hands are revealed, look to see who has the bigger hand. If the regular has the bigger hand, it's going to resolve as a regular success, 1 part success. Usually that just means they do the thing that they want to do. If the house has the bigger hand, it's going to be a regular failure, 1 part failure. Usually that just means the crew member does not do what they intended to do. And if their hands exactly tie, then it is 1 part failure and 1 part success, a mixed success. Those are how you score the hand. So those are the results, but how do we get there? Like I said, once this setup has been reached, the rules are different for the regular and for the house. The house is actually playing pretty standard blackjack. So they can flip an extra garnish if they want to, and it will be face up. They can look at their face down card. They shouldn't reveal it because that would reveal their strategy. Right now, we know that they have 18, which is a pretty good hand, and so they probably don't want to add another garnish. However, they have 1 trick up their sleeve. House can choose not to reveal their face down card, instead saving it for the next check. So if I wanted to make this more difficult as the house, I might choose to take a garnish because I know that I'm not going to have to go over. And I in fact did increase my hand up to 20. That is all the house can do to improve their hand. They can choose to not reveal their card in order to not go over or to save it for a later time, and they can choose to reveal another garnish. The regular, on the other hand, does not have the same options. The regular cannot hit any cards or take a garnish. The regular instead does not have to worry about going over 21. They are simply trying to get a higher hand than the house or force the house to go over 21. And while the regular cannot get another card, they have 2 ways to improve their hand. 1, they can add the relevant stat to their hand size. Remember, they don't have to worry about going over 21, so it doesn't matter if the stat boost gets them over 21. Say they had 20 and they have a +2 brain, they don't have to worry about getting 22. That's actually really good. That means they're going to succeed unless the house gets 21, in which case it'll be a critical failure no matter what the regular does. Aside from the stat bonuses, the regular also benefits from the core mechanic of the game, the reason why the game is a drinking game. At any time, any player can choose to take a shot and unlock one of the dice. Anytime a die is unlocked, it can be used during a challenge to improve the regular's hand. So, you can choose to take a bunch of shots at the beginning of the game and unlock several dice, or you can choose to wait until right up until the moment where you need to take the shot in order to roll the die. It's a little bit more dramatic that way, but if you're playing at a bar, you don't want to be taking 4 shots about 20 minutes before you need to go, just because it's the climax of the adventure. Stay safe, have fun, heck yeah. Say they take a shot and this dice has been revealed. Say this is that speed check we sort of talked about earlier. The regular is looking at 16 + 1, 17, and they can visibly see that the house has 20. They're pretty sure this isn't an ace because according to blackjack scoring, an ace can be 1 or 11, whichever is more beneficial to the card holder. So if the house had been dealt an ace and a 10, they wouldn't have flipped in order to try to get a higher score. They already have the best score they can. So the regular has a pretty good idea that they are trying to beat exactly 20. And since they know that they have 16 plus 1, 17, if they're playing with this d6, this regular die, they know that they've got a decent chance of winning. So they'll take it and they'll roll it. Hey, they got a 6. They're pretty sure that they're going to succeed on the check. So they say, I'm ready to reveal. And then the house has to also agree to be ready to reveal before the regular reveals their card. This is important because the house's special rule where they can choose to keep it unrevealed. The house needs to announce that they're not going to reveal their card in order to keep the balance that we intended for the game. So in this case, the house indicates that they do not want to reveal their face down card and will instead save it for the next challenge. Then, having established that, it's now time for the regular to reveal their card. The regular reveals 16 through the cards, plus 6 with the dice, and plus 1 with their stat bonus for speed. So, all in all, that's going to be 23. That 23 beats the house's 22 and is a regular success, so 1 part success. The house might then narrate that they are, in fact, able to get to the door first, and they close it behind them, and they are able to escape. Then, take all of the cards, and you can choose either to shuffle them back in order for it to be completely random again the next time that happens, or you can choose to leave it in a discard pile for people who like to keep track of cards so that it informs you later on and makes the game more interesting. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. Once 7 shots have been completely taken, and you can split the shots between people, it just needs to be completely gone before the die is unlocked. Once all the shots have been taken, all the dice are unlocked, you can then roll the dice for different challenges. Once you have rolled your last die, you have no dice, and it is now time to settle up. You settle up by improving one of your stats by 1. In this case, what I've prepared to do is to improve brawn from 0 to 1. Then, if you play again with the same group of people, instead of choosing the sort of standard array of bottle caps with the 2, 0, 1, 1, 1, start out with the same stats that you ended the last game with. And that's the core rules for how you play one-shots. In the next video, check out all of the house rules that I love to add in and throw in, and you're welcome to use them as inspirations for your own house rules. If you want access to the game because you missed the last Kickstarter, stay tuned to the channel. Please subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. I will keep releasing updates. Essentially, as soon as we're done fulfilling this previous Kickstarter, I will start gearing up for the next Kickstarter, which is going to offer more bar mats for those who want that, as well as debuting our first official adventure deck. I don't know exactly which one that will be yet, because right now we are both play testing the concept of an adventure deck and a bunch of individual adventure decks. What I do know is that they've been a ton of fun, and I'm excited to get them into the hands of more people than just me and my friends. So, for more and better content in the future, please like, subscribe, comment, consider backing us on Patreon. Also, keep your eye out for the next Kickstarter. And always remember, the most powerful magic of all is the magic of stay safe, have fun, heck yeah. Until next time.